So she wants me to work on typing, and depending if she would type right with me, would you, that would be there a good competition, and I would try my hardest to beat you every time. Five, my familiarity. What was that?
Familiarity. Being familiar.
Familiarity with the activity that I would be doing makes it more meaningful to me because sometimes I say I hate this at first, and then as we kind of casually keep doing it, I do find more enjoyment out of
Do you have an example?
it. Like writing. When I was given homework to write, and, I don't know.
I have one while you think. So you told me one time, this was a while ago, that you liked Tetris. Do you remember that conversation that we had?
Which dad could buy a Tetris game on the Xbox,
Uh-huh.
so it's even more fun now.
And then you remember what Tetris led me to go find for you? I was like, ooh, then you have to play
Yes,
this game.
Blockers.
Blockus. So then we started playing Blockus, and we had Blockus competitions where we
She
had
got
actually.
destroyed.
Not the first game.
So I had to figure out what to do.
Right, you did have to figure out the game, which is great because you was learning perceptual, motor, fine motor, so much in that game. But then you made me make a bracket, so you're playing the paras and you're playing the resource teachers. So we had that bracket going, remember that? So that's kind of, that all led from Tetris.
The goals I have for the future is first off college, like you guys. I am a big college person, kind of like my sister. And then social would be my second one because I am losing too many friends. So social is a good idea to have.
Explain to them, so from your perspective, why is that so hard? Why is this, it's not like you've lost friends, but the social part of it, why has that gotten difficult?
Because I don't remember much of anything. And so I don't remember. Like, let's say I had a friend and I couldn't remember their name. And I also would not remember what we would do. So, like that best friend I used in my other example, we used to play video games all the time. And we hardcore games. So,
It's also hard, you can't just jump in your car
Yeah.
and go to where they're at
Yeah.
if they don't come to you. So like the getting there, that part of being involved. It's not like it's done, but it's a hurdle.
which I also, I have Snapchat her old. I've tried that my phone password 195 times.
Unlocking the old phone is
It's key because what is it?
what's in there.
Full memory with one. And my second is working, and I think you guys can figure that out. Fourth is honestly driving because I want to get to places fast. Fifth is helping others, kind of like you all want to do. See, my job I want to do is build computers for others because I built my own. So that's kind of how it started. And then I will help with their troubleshooting problems. So, any questions?
What were some of your favorite activities to do in therapy? Like, what games do you like to play with Professor Pero?
Or he knows me as Libby.
You get to use your first name? we don't get to.
I would prefer that, but as I call my original parent, Blake, I decided to call her Libby. So, yeah.
What are some favorite things that we do that you like best?
Well, I liked Blockus and I don't remember.
Did you like it when we would work on your homework, like with typing and writing, or that was kind of boring?
The typing was different to me. So, yeah, typing.
What about the bits board? Do you like the bits board?
Yeah,
Bloop,
but
bloop, bloop.
that's not OT.
That is OT.
But and Angela.
Yep, she's an OT.
That's at Mary Lanning now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that?
Yes, since I got Renee.
Renee's PT.
Oh, I know, but she's my last, best for last. So, yeah, and always give your people 3 times for anything so they are familiar and they can do their best when they are familiar with something. So 3 times is the correct option. Okay.
Well, to be the opposite of Sophia's question, what did you not like about therapy?
I still don't know that.
Well, have you always liked your therapist?
No,
You've complained.
I know I complain.
Well, why were you complaining? What didn't you like?
That's the part I don't remember much.
So it must not have mattered then, right? He would literally, he hated therapists. And he told his sister, I can't believe you're being a therapist. I hate you now.
And
Yeah.
she was my favorite sister. Why? I felt like giving that. So, sadly no. But it's a shout out.
What's your first memory that you can think of from before the accident?
Maine, I think Maine, I think was my first memory, but I don't really know. Is that true?
Well, when we got home, he didn't believe us that we were home. And he didn't talk until we got home. Didn't talk at all.
So
And-
talking was my first memory.
I mean, before the accident, but remember what your very first memory was.
Emma. Was that
Tell him who Emma is.
Emma was my crush. And I don't know why that caused me to say that, but I did. And then she came and saw that with that.
But that was the first definitive, we knew that was a memory.
He would constantly ask for her and talk about her.
And he was even belligerent, like trying to get out of the house which he couldn't move. But
Had you been dating her, or she was just a crush?
She was just my crush since first grade.
One thing I remember about, I don't want to call it a little bit of memory, but also how your brain was working at the time. This was maybe, we started working together, I think in January. This would have maybe been February, March, and I was still getting very much to know you and kind of where you were at with everything and where am I jumping in with, all these different things. And you had been working really, really hard. I said, well, what would you like for reward? Do you want some Skittles? And you said, what's a Skittle? And I was kind of taken aback that you didn't remember. I said, well, it's kind of like an M&M. Well, I stopped trying to like, what's an M&M? So then even when we showed the bag, it didn't really register as to what it would taste like or what it might be like. So that was curious. But like 5 minutes later, you did some like algebra calculus, and it was right. So I was like, how do we have this? It was just so amazing to me to watch your brain, just in everything, just wow, the things and like your emotions with Emma, which obviously led to that memory and what was there, what has been built, and then how fast some of the stuff came back was very clear to me.
So if there are no questions, I might be done.
I have a question for your mom and dad, if that's okay.
Yeah.
When he came home from the hospital from Madonna, how impactful was that for him to be in his own home, his own environment, because he was surrounded by familiarity, things that he knows? Like in occupational therapy, Jacob, we talked a lot about your life, who you are, like what your environment is. Now you're back in not a hospital setting or like a
He was
a
mad.
sterile environment,
He was
How
mad.
quickly?
He was mad
He was mad.
because he didn't recognize the house. He didn't recognize the inside of the house. He couldn't go downstairs where his room was. He had a new room that was Mary's room, and he was mad because it was Mary's room and it's not his room, and he was upset.
We were still
For-
going through a lot of the stages that they would tell us we would go through.
Yeah.
Like the anger, the yelling, obscene words. His favorite word was the B word, and he would just get mad, and he'd say it nothing but the B word for 30 minutes, and he'd just get madder and madder, and that was really, really hard.
Yeah, or he
Always constantly hungry, always asking for ice cream.
ice cream calmed him down. So that was, if you have somebody you're working with and they're in that stage, ice cream, girls, ice cream. Trust me.
When we first brought him home, he couldn't move yet. I mean, he could kind of roll around on the floor, but he didn't know when he had to go to the bathroom. So we were in Depends, and we had to change him, and it was very, very hard. And he didn't think he was home.
He didn't know who we were, like sometimes. And if his friends would come over, some friends would come over, and he would know one of the friends, but he wouldn't know the other. And there was one kid that was in his class, and he was over with this other kid named Chris, and he called Chris, and he called the other guy LeBron. And he doesn't look anything like LeBron. So, yeah, it was kind of insanity in a way. We were just glad he started talking, because he didn't talk for months. So even if it was bad words, it was okay.
Wait, so back to that story. I chose LeBron to say because I used to have a nickname for Christopher, and it was LeBron.
No, but you called Ethan LeBron,
I know.
and you called Chris Crispy.
Oh, he's crispy because he's crisp. So. So, still, no question. And there is a couple more.
What was speech therapy like?
My second to least favorite due to the zappies that they put on my face for the swallowing.
They use electrolysis to push the muscles, he did not like speech therapy.
I don't think I'd like that, yeah. But
It
you-
took a
you
long
talk
time
so
to-
well now.
It took him a long time to have a clear voice to where people can understand him. A very long time.
And it's still slow. It's not,
Yes,
we're still working on that, but
So with those angry behaviors, when you first got home, was it something you had to just let, take its course and run out, or did you treat
Some of it.
somehow?
Some of it you had to let it run its course. There was times he would get mad, and if you were anywhere close, he would just rear up like he was gonna hit you.
I mean, he wouldn't be able to hit you though. It'd probably go
But-
this way, but
And there's times he would grab my wrist and not let go, and I'd have
that's the scary thing is if he
Bruises.
gets a hold of you, he's very strong.
So
So
times you kind of had to step back and let him run its course. Other times, if you could talk to him calmly, he would start calming down.
and then ice cream.
The ice cream. So we kind of learned what we needed to do when. It was a learning experience for
We're
both of us.
It's still there's still it'll pop up out of nowhere, especially towards his sisters, because they've always been competitive with each other. So like he gets more mad at them than anybody else.
And the teasing, he likes to tease them, but if they try to tease him, he gets really mad.
It's getting better though. But
Oh yeah, so speaking of how strong I am, does anyone want to that's just an honest question, like if you're down to arm wrestle, I would be
Your competition, your competitiveness might break their arm.
what if you arm wrestled two of them?
okay. You can have a partner or
Two against one?
yeah. I've done it before and beat them, so I'm not that scared.
I believe you. you guys saw the progression of Madonna therapy, Mary Lanning, you know, and all the therapies that he had, what is your best advice? Because, you know, they're in semester 2 of 5, but they'll land in any practice setting. Who knows, outpatient, inpatient, schools, you know, nobody knows it right now, but your best advice of all the therapies you received. Maybe it's even like what you liked and what don't do this, or definitely we appreciated this.
Madonna has an excellent OT program. If you've seen where he's putting the rings on and then they have, they just had so many like blocks or anything stacking, stuff like that, anything to make him or her, whoever the patient is, just to get them to move that affected arm, because obviously if the brain injury is on this side's affected. So, and then switching those two back and forth, switching the right and the left, and a lot of times Jake doesn't want to use his left. So, as an OT, like you need to focus on that and make sure that, if it's Jacob you're working with, that he does the left arm stuff, and then create things around making him do left-sided things. So, and that was like Madonna focused on that, and
I feel free to say this, but even if you try to make me do the left, I will sneakily.
I agree. You gotta keep them going with both sides. Just don't work on one. But another thing is you kind of have to distance yourself from the patient. I understand that, but you also got to get to know them and what they like, because if they don't like it, they're not going to do it. They will not do it. And I'm sure each patient is going to be tremendously different with personality,
yeah,
emotionally, and everything.
every brain injury is going to be different.
Because you could tell the ones that are like really, really distant and kind of like, oh, this is just my job, versus I want to help you.
But I want you to know that every time, hold on. Like if the patient's kind of, what I notice about Jake is his personality's still there. It's just warped. It's just in the, but he's still Jake. So when you're working with somebody with a brain injury, in their mind, they're still themselves, but they can't. The functions aren't going to work the way they want. And in his case, like I was talking about earlier, he tries to go too fast. But because back in pre-accident or whatever, that's how he was. He wanted to go faster when, everything was fast, read fast, type fast, do this fast. So just remember that if something about the patient is odd, that's just their personality trying to come out. So you just have to be patient and try to understand that they're trying to do what you want, but sometimes they can't. It's not their fault. They're not trying to make you mad. And I know he used to tell all the therapists that he hates therapy and all this, but I don't think he does. I think he likes it.
You're still undecided.
So earlier you said that speech was your second to least favorite kind of therapy, right? So what's your least favorite?
OT.
I had to ask. I was afraid you'd say that, but I had to ask.
PT is my favorite because I actually get with my muscles, which OT is my second because I still get with my muscles, but not the ones I want.
Very motivated by walking. So if the OT, say a really, really, really good OT, had you walking to do an activity that was beneficial for everything, that would be the best, would you say? Because it would incorporate everything that you want to do, plus be fun, plus a competition.
Oh, then, and use mirrors. Because we were at Madonna, and I think I actually have this on video, but they brought a mirror and they put a mirror, and it was an OT session. They put a mirror in front of him, and as soon as he saw the mirror, he like stood up and tried to, and this, he hadn't even tried to get up at all before without help or assistance. As soon as he saw the mirror, it was like, whoa, and he tried to stand up. And if you use the mirror, then he can look in the mirror to see what his hands are doing or whatever is going on in front of here. He gets a different perspective of seeing himself do it as opposed to watching what's happening here. And then you can use the mirror to say, see, now do it again, but look at yourself in the mirror when you do it. Do you see how this is choppy, or, you know, things like that, so that the person with the brain injury can go, okay, maybe I should listen to this person a little bit more. I see what I'm doing in the mirror. Like it's more of a, especially with him, you have to prove everything. Everything has to be proven. So
Like when he says proven, he means proven. Because if I know that it's not, or I believe that it's not beneficial, I got to know it's beneficial to actually do. Because half the time I will mosey around doing different stuff. Any questions now? Okay.
I think that's it. Jacob, the class put together a thank you note for you here with something fun inside.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, and then this bag of goodies for you from Central, since they're kind of welcoming you to college here with your classes and stuff.
Okay, thank you, guys.
So, thank you very much.